There we go.
Thank you.
I will call the meeting to order. It's still at 6 o'clock, reconvene to open session. So I'll let Joe, we do have a couple action items from closed session.
Okay. On item 2.1, it was motioned by trustee Schneider and seconded by trustee Statham and passed by a vote of 3-0 with 2 absences to approve the stipulated expulsion agreement for student number 26-02. Item 2.2, it was moved by trustee Schneider and seconded by trustee Statham to pass by a vote of 3-0 with 2 absences to approve a partial leave for a certificated employee and a partial leave for a classified employee. No other action was taken.
Okay, thank you. And approval of the agenda. Are there any concerns or anything we need to move, pull? Okay, can I have approval of the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
All right, we will move on to public comment on non-agenda items.
I don't have any public comment unless there's someone in the room that has public comment.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to item number 4, the patriotic exercise.
All right, so for patriotic exercise today, I want to recognize that today is Emancipation Day on April 16th in 1862 when Abraham Lincoln signed a law freeing 3,000 enslaved peoples in Washington, D.C. So this was months before the Emancipation Proclamation. But, an important step to live up to our ideals of liberty and equality. And then it's also National Volunteer Month, so it's recognizing everyone who gives their time as service to others. Public education in particular depends on that spirit of service. School board members here, we are volunteers, and dedicating a lot of time and effort to support the students and staff and the broader community. So together, these it's not just words but actions working to expand opportunity and showing up for service in our community.
Thank you. Item number 5, acknowledgements.
Okay. So for our broad acknowledgements here, we have that April is Autism Awareness Month. It's also National Bilingual Multilingual Learner Advocacy Month, National Poetry Month, and School Library Month. Autism Awareness Day was on April 2nd. Earth Day will be April 22nd. Administrative Professionals Week. You got a whole week.
I didn't make it up.
April 19th through the 25th. Public School Volunteer Week, April 20th through 24th. School Nutrition Employee Week is April 27th through May 1st. Donation acknowledgements. So we have received the following donations. $100 donation received from Noyo Pacific Incorporated, Norville's, to support Fort Bragg Middle School. Middle School's girls wrestling program. $2,627 donation received from the FBMS Parents Club to support the Fort Bragg Middle School girls softball uniform purchase. $1,000 donation received from the Turrentine and Duffy families to support the FBHS library and ASB programs. So we appreciate our community contributions as always.
Thank you. All right, and does the board receive any communications recently? Okay. All right, any public comment on agenda items now or when the item comes?
I have not received any public comment.
Let's stop. Okay. All right, then we'll keep moving. So we're item number 8, our reports.
For Redwood Elementary, the second grade will be finishing up their swimming lessons for the school year this week. Thanks to the CDSAR Center for continuing to work with them on this project. There is also a number of upcoming field trips and events for Redwood, such as the second grade class will be going to Point Cathedral Lighthouse this week and next week. All of Redwood will be attending a performance by the Symphony of the Redwoods this Friday the 17th. And also some kinder classes will be going to McCarricker in 2 weeks. Also, their TK and K Roundup Night is happening on the 29th. And lastly, they will have their Equity Walk, which is happening on May 4th. For Fort Bragg Middle School, they have grades posted for this grading period on Friday, April 17th, and soccer and softball are also ongoing. Their drama class is also presenting Miss at the Edge of the World on May 7th and 9th in the Cotton Auditorium. And lastly, their task testing begins the week of April 29th, and their next dance is May 1st.
So we did not get a response from alternative education, but for Fort Bragg High School, spring break just wrapped up this past week. And this Saturday is prom. It's being held at Spring Ranch, which is by Little River, and the theme is Southern Nights and the Northern Lights. Prom royalty nominations is also happening. We were not nominated. ASB elections is also starting up for next year, so kids are going for their student board positions for next year's school year, and me and her are going to do this role again, so you can see us next year. Sports like track, swim, tennis, golf, baseball, softball, they're all still ongoing. I know we had a track meet yesterday, went pretty well, and softball's been having a lot of games lately, so doing pretty good. There's some volunteering happening. I know Earth Day has a festival on April 18th that's actually held at the Fort Bragg High School over there, I believe. And I know me and my friends are volunteering for that. There's a lot of different stations. You can volunteer to help. It's a whole day thing. It'll be fun. Project Right Now, or PRN, will have a station in the quad where they'll be handing out free Narcan. So that's starting. The Mendocino Coast Writer Conference is where there are writing workshops where people can attend, and it has scholarships available for high school students. So I guess that's happening where people can learn a lot about just like writing in different genres of books, or just like writing in different forms. So that's for the Mendocino Coast Writer Conference. There's the 2026 Congressional Art Competition, which receives digital art submissions from high school students all over California. And the winning artwork will be exhibited in the U.S. Capitol building. The winning artists will receive a complimentary airfare for themselves and a guest to attend the art reception in Washington, D.C. In June. So I know that is open to students here. The Latino Student Retreat is also starting registration, which is a field trip where they go to the Mendocino College campus in Ukiah and they get a tour. And there's activities there, workshops. There's a couple speakers. There's a Keystone speaker I know, and a woman who is an author and entrepreneur. She speaks a little bit, so there's a lot of stuff with that. And lastly, there's SAT that's starting. That is May 2nd for juniors, and there's AP test, which is May 4th. So that's all kind of one couple of days, but yeah, that's it for the schools.
Okay, thank you. All right, and 8.2, our general obligation bond fund project update.
Hi, like always, good to see you guys. Kind of getting to be routine. I've got boring information for you, but it's good boring. We're past all the drama. PGD and all that stuff is resolved. I believe it's late September they'll finish up, as long as the deliveries of electrical stuff comes true. All the buildings A, B, and C are dried in, meaning that if it rains now, like it did last week, it doesn't really affect their progress on the interior. They can just keep going. Obviously, it would affect doing site work, but being dried in is a good milestone. Inside the buildings, they have all the building installation, or at least in building A, the building installations in, and they're progressing with that. This week, they started putting up drywall, so starting to get into finishes. The exterior, you see that yellow board, that's the finished material. It's siding. That's not the finished color, that's just primer. There's a little bit of different siding on the back side. It's more of a geometric shape. or rectangular. But those get painted, it's a different color than what you see there, but the roofing is, well, the roof material's not up, it's dried in, it's got water, a vapor barrier on top, and the flat roof is completed, so other than the appearance of a metal roof, for durability, the roof is done as well, so. Interior electrical work, the fire protection, fire alarm work, the fire sprinklers, all pretty much all roughed in. There's some seismic raising and such that needs to happen, like at the fire protection. But we're segueing from rough finishes to finishes, and then we'll to fine finishes. But they've got a little bit more trenching and drainage outside, but they'll do that between the rains or whatever rains left we have. So really, it's just going along fairly swimmingly, or really swimmingly, actually. So anyway, with that, if you have any, there's a few pictures of progress, but you can look at the window and see just as well. Because just from the inside courtyard is the pictures. At any rate, really not much to report other than nothing but good news.
Is it almost time for us to do a little tour? Like a month or so, or?
Anytime you want, yeah.
That'd
I don't wanna-
probably be good. Like in a month would be great.
Yeah, whenever you guys, it'd be great, before the end of the school year.
Yeah, I'd like to get out
See
and
something.
look in their area, you'll remind me too.
Yeah.
The high school, or the continuation school people have been there once, and they're talking about coming back again. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Awesome.
So when you mentioned the PG&E, the lot adjustment,
That's all done,
Okay,
resolved,
excellent.
because PG wouldn't release it until that got resolved.
Okay.
That was kind of the linchpin for cutting free the order of the PG, so there's
Great.
really no outstanding issues.
Exciting.
Thanks.
All righty, well, thank you very much.
All right. Okay, 8.3, the counselor's report.
If it's possible, I think Tomas gave a heads up. He's kind of finishing up some stuff with the kids. If we can push it down.
Sure.
Because he'd like to join too.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, we thought we'd take a little longer on.
Normally, we're not moving this fast.
If we have to, I'm fine doing it, but
Yeah.
No, if he's planning to come,
Shouldn't be a
I
problem.
think, yeah. Okay, all right, the middle school?
We got Julianne first.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I didn't put my glasses on.
That's
So I missed
okay.
that.
No worries. All right. So wonderful things, as always, Dana Gray. Spring, so these are our classrooms. So this is just a real life look at what's going on. This is one classroom in particular where we had a teacher out on leave, and the person in the middle on the right, Diane Weir, has stepped in and done an amazing job of helping out in our special ed classroom, just wonderful hands-on stuff, really bringing a lot of knowledge to our whole site as well. Other little sneak peeks, the reason for these is I'm still so wowed in the wowed mode. I hope I always am, honestly, at Dana Gray. I think I will be. If I'm ever ungrateful, catch me. So at the top right, we have our ELD aide working in her lovely classroom, one-on-one with the student. And then bottom right, just showing in the foreground, you can see the use of alternative seating. All teachers really embrace meeting the needs of our kids. Hands-on science on the left, having fun with circuitry. Thank you for doing this. And the 3rd and 4th grade hallway was pretty smelly during squid dissections. Really loved it. Like kids were like, "Ew, it's so gross," but they really loved it. So they're doing that in both pictures on the left. Look at all that safety gear. Barry would be so happy. And then on the right, I believe that was a challenge activity in the Stenberg's class. Garden time, this week they're working on transplanting. This was seed saving and collecting. So the kids go into the garden every week?
Every other week.
Every other week, thank you. Hands-on, having fun. And the fourth graders took field trips to the library in Wiggly Wiggly. Third grade as well. I don't believe fifth grade did though. So just third and fourth had a good time, definitely a good time at the park. Library cards and books were checked out. Thank you. And then our clubs are still thriving. Choir is every morning that Ms. Deaton is on campus. As you know, she's like 1 month on, 1 month off with Isa Hernandez for art. So she has her choir club each morning, and at the end of her 4 weeks on site, they have a choir performance for parents to come and all the classes join. Drama is led by Jess Green, fifth grade teacher, so she's got a bunch of kids. The production is going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday, May 26th and 27th. That'll be during the school day. We'd love to have people attend. And then the evening performances are Thursday and Friday, May 28th and 29th. And then Sandy, our grandparent volunteer who works in Jess Green's fifth grade classroom, does our chess club. I know this is kind of old news, but it's still so great. So talk about volunteers. Oh my gosh, this gentleman is amazing. Yes, there we go. He comes every Thursday mornings, and last night he was at Mendocino Woodlands with the fifth graders on their outdoor camping until bedtime. He's like, no, I didn't help until lights out, and I didn't get home until 10:30. I popped in for a bit. He said he got home. Did he say got home at 11 or got in bed at 11? Still showed up for chess club this morning, so he's pretty wonderful. Especially, did you say it's volunteer week or month? Month. Yeah. So star volunteer for sure. Pod Squad is going strong. That's a picture of them on the left. When we had a site council meeting earlier in the year, one of the parents suggested that we have the student responsibilities section written in kid language, and so they crafted the kid version for us, the Pod Squad did, or student responsibilities for the compact. And on the right are pictures, just glimpses of Chill Village, some of our rock star kids chilling in the village. Fifth grade created, again, Jess Green's class is really embracing the environmental messaging, which is great for our kids. So they did some infomercials with our students and set up shop in the hallway and educated kids on trash and the effects on the planet. And then on the right, we had Norma come to us. Oops, sorry, thank you. Norma came to us from Flockworks and presented a project in collaboration with Noyo Marine Center on kelp forests, the challenges that they're facing. The kids walked away with homemade Play-Doh sea urchin sculptures with toothpicks. It was very fine art. Wonderful to have her in there teaching. We had some contests that were, the first two on the left were outside of our school, but the Redwood Region Logging Conference Mural Contest is a regional conference, obviously, won by our very own Miss Blaney won first place, Mr. Nifong second place. I believe it was a check for $150 for Miss Blaney's class, and Mr. Nifong's class got a $50 check. So good for them. Fourth grade contest, but the folder contest is offered to every fourth grader to participate. We had maybe 10 or 12, maybe around 10 kids participate, and they put up their displays up in the office. Everybody got to vote. So this student's picture will go on the folders for next year. And then last night, as I mentioned real quickly, I popped out to the Mendocino Woodlands Outdoor School. It is a ways out there. I did not realize how far. And the road is rough. Should have brought the truck, but it's all good. But got out there, and the kids arrived on Monday. They arrived there on Monday, and then got back to school today, Thursday. And again, thank you so much. Jess Green is going to do a whole presentation for you, but I'm so glad that folks were in favor of it. But in a snapshot, real quickly, I arrived, they were still full of energy. I was surprised after being out there this long, but lots of energy. The picture on the top left, this is all inside the dining hall. And they got to see the Waste Wizard, which was going on when I took my sixth graders there 26 years ago. So pretty fun to see full circle. And again, volunteers on the bottom right, that's our crew of chaperones that came and spent their time there. So we had, out of 61 fifth graders, 58% of our kids went. So 61 students participated. We had 12 parent chaperones and 2 teachers. And then I'm glad that Luce is not here tonight, honestly. Giving her the night off. I don't know how much sleep she got, but she was there smiling and they all had a really great time. So we get to hear more about that. They were looking a little bit peaked by the end of the day today. Very happy that that's happening. Looking ahead for us, tomorrow our whole school, just like Redwood, is going to go see Carnival of the Animals, brought to us by Symphony of the Redwoods in Cotton. And then our spring book fair is next week. That's where we're at. Oh, and CASP testing is coming. So that's not next week, but starting the week after. So 2 weeks of CASP testing, and then the fifth graders take the science test, the California Assessment for California Science Test. Right? Is that what it stands for? CAST, California Assessment.
Cast, yeah.
Yeah, but it stands for California Science Test, I think is all it is. The CA is from the A.
It's part of Cody.
Yeah, okay, CA.
If it works.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Why don't we go back, should we do counselors?
Sure.
And then we come back to.
Thank you everyone for having us. Tomas Sanchez, one of the counselors at Fort Bragg High School.
And Mark Woolley, middle school counselor at Fort Bragg High School.
One thing I just thought about right now is this is our 9th year working together. So like, I just feel like we have a lot of experience working together. We collaborate really well together. So really thankful that I get to work with Mark on a day-to-day basis.
Same to you, Tomas. Full circle, talking about that, when you were a student here back in 08, 09, 9, 10. So yeah, it's a little bit longer than 10 years ago. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So our counseling office goals kind of are centered around like things that we really want to accomplish throughout the year. So the first one is when we get to the freshmen in class, we really want to get to know them from the get-go. So about 3 weeks in, a month in, we go in there and we talk to all the freshman classes. We do some classroom guides with them. And we go over credits for graduation, A through G requirements. We do a little fun Jeopardy game just so that they get to have some fun too. We give out some candy too, a little bit there. But it's just mainly for them to get to know us too. And we have some trivia in there about ourselves so they can kind of see us and hopefully know that we're approachable and can make an appointment with us when they need something from us or have questions. So this year we reached 127 freshmen. And then after that, we do follow up with the signs of suicide prevention training. So after that fun kind of classroom guidance, we do go into something that's super serious. And it's nice for them to already know us and see our faces before we jump into the signs of suicide prevention training. So that's a day long of training, also with all 5 of the freshman seminar classes. We reached 127 students. And that one is really heavy topic, but it's super important for our community and for our high school to receive that training and to know that we're also there to support them. And we do follow up with them later on. We have them fill out this survey just to kind of get a sense if there's anybody within the freshman class that is having those feelings, and so that we can follow up with them and touch base after that. And then the third thing we really want to accomplish throughout the year is increase A through G completion for FBHS students. We saw a drop around COVID. Gradually, it's building back up. Last year was a really good year. This year, we're kind of where we've been in the past. So we, for 2025 graduates, it's at 38.5% who completed A through G requirements. And about 2 years ago, we started auto-enrolling students in A through G. So that means that regardless of what their plan is for the future, we want to place them in an Algebra 2 class after completing geometry. Same thing goes with Spanish. If they haven't completed their Spanish requirement, we auto-enroll them. Same thing with chemistry. Now, if a student really doesn't want to take that, we're not going to force them, obviously, but like we want to have a conversation with them about what this means, opting out of A through G requirements. And we feel like it's really going to help out the process in building that number up.
And parents as well. I mean, the parents will be looped in. There's a form they have to take home. Again, just to kind of have a conversation, get everybody involved. If they're an avid or upper bound, want them to be involved as well to sign that form and be like, okay, you know what you're doing. You can go ahead and get out of these classes. So it's helped out. And a lot of times the kids that we auto enroll, they stay in it. So it's been somewhat successful. The other one we focus on is truancy, trying to get our kids to school. It's a big kind of thing that we focus on with our admin. We also bring in the family liaisons. And also Donna has been super helpful this year. So just really meeting weekly, honestly, and talking about attendance, having conversations. Sometimes when we have kids that are really not coming, we'll go out to the home and kind of do a knock, a greet and meet, check in on them, see what we can do. A lot of times these conversations, whether it's a home visit or even in our office or just around campus, lead to mental health stuff. Things not going good at home, or there's a trouble getting to school, or I have to watch my kids before school, or my siblings, or get them to school. So it just kind of fosters like these nice conversations. Still a lot of work to do. It's a struggle to get our kids to come to school, a lot of them. But these are good meetings and a good focus with them. We have a lot of support systems. You guys have been super supportive with us. Super appreciate the board and Mr. Aldridge, that let these organizations come in to have the offices here at the high school to allow them to use. So we really lean on Thrive. That's been a huge thing for us. Not only before COVID, yes, our kids struggled, but especially afterwards. That's kind of where this Thrive program started from. And the fact that we continue to be able to do it has been amazing. 15 referrals, that's seems like a low number. Honestly, to me, I think she does definitely touch base with a lot more kids, but that's kind of her max capacity. So I believe there's been way more kids she's seen this year. But this is her caseload is full at this point, and she's always monitoring and talking to kids as she can. So it's really our focus throughout the year. Next one is other responsibilities that we handle in our office. Boss is going to cover these.
So one thing that we've really seen an increase, I think when I started, between us, we probably had about like 15 504 accommodations. So that was manageable. And now it's at 37 students. So on top of everything we do, we also are the case carriers for the 504 students. And it definitely seems that that number just continues to increase and increase throughout the years. It increased by 9 students since last year. PSAT, SAT testing. So we provide the SAT testing, and that honestly falls more on Mark. He handles all the PSAT and SAT testing. And that was 126 students that were tested throughout this year. State testing is coming up for us also. We have next week, all the students taking, the sophomores are taking the CAS, California Science Test, and the juniors are taking the ELA, English and Math exams throughout the week. So that's going to be happening all next week, and then it'll roll over a little bit. If the students that are absent, we'll catch them the following weeks after that. So sophomores, 160 of them will be tested, and then juniors will be testing 119 in both those tests. And that's supported by staff members too on our campus. Teachers really help out with that. They test the students in their classroom, so it's really supporting our process too. This year we did something new too. We started offering interim state tests to help out in building students' success rates with the CASP tests. So we did offer interim state tests for ELA, Math, and LPAC. And so we're hoping that that is going to help them and help out those numbers in increasing and bettering those scores. We also do some AP testing. That's coming up in a couple of weeks also. 69 students were tested last year. And the hope of this is to also give students an opportunity to take as many exams as they can. Mark started doing something a couple years back where even if we didn't offer an AP class on campus, a student regardless could take any AP exam that they wanted. So we've had students taking multiple AP exams, and it's just giving them an opportunity hopefully to pass and to earn more college credit that way. We also will administer the SAT on Saturday, May 2nd, that's coming up, and offered it on October 4th at the beginning of the year. We have also are asked at the high school to attend IEP meetings. So counselors this year have been at 19 IEP meetings as the administrators of those meetings. And that is just due to the fact that we have a big caseload at the high school. And there's 2 admins, so we support them and help them out with those meetings. It's a lot of meetings that happen throughout the year. Information nights, we held several parent nights this year, and we are offering them both in English and Spanish. So we discussed things like financial aid, college information, AP College Honors Night, FAFSA Night, California Dream Application, and also the incoming freshman receiver freshman information night. So our hope with that is just to provide as much information to build that parent communication and engagement throughout the year so that they can also feel comfortable reaching out to us and asking us questions. Dual enrollment is a big piece of our job. That's something also that has really increased and changed when I first started here. We, in the fall semester, helped 92 unduplicated students sign up for dual enrollment classes. And in the spring, we help out way more students. This is our biggest number. We helped out, I believe, 235 unduplicated students. So our hope with that is to offer as many opportunities to our students throughout the year to take classes on our campus, earn college credit, and get closer to earning that degree once they get out of high school. Restorative circles are also a big part of our job, whether that is needed between peer-to-peer restorative circles or staff-to-peer. We do those throughout the year, provide that mediation in those restorative circles to students or staff when they are in need. And then creating the master schedule, we're in the middle of that right now. We spend several weeks meeting with students individually. We talk to students about their schedule for the next year. We go into classrooms. We have the students fill out a Google form that's going to help us select their classes for the following year. And then we sit down together and we start building that master schedule in areas for the following year. And then lastly, we also are in charge of monitoring some student awards. So academic lettering, State Seal of Biliteracy, Golden State Seal of Merit, and Mendocino College graduation stoles, honor roll cords. All of those have to do with graduation and are awards that students can receive or things that students can receive at graduation. Thank you.
And then our biggest responsibility is the students. So how we reach them, we try to do it in many different ways that include individual meets, classroom guidance. Big thing, that we do is at the beginning of the year, we check in with all of our seniors, have individual meetings with them, really talk about graduation. Are you on track? Is everything looking good? A through G is looking good. And then really get into what your plans are. What are the plans after high school? What do you need help with this year? Applications, scholarships, financial aid. We have a nice spreadsheet that we keep to kind of track that as things come up throughout the year. As far as SSTs and parent conferences, so SSTs is kind of the process to help figure out our students that are really struggling. It really starts, I think, with communication with the teachers. Usually emails go out, kind of email chains of like, hey, what are you seeing? What are you trying? And when those things aren't working, we then jump to this SST to kind of start the process of, possibly looking at an assessment or 504. These meetings don't always lead to that, and honestly, usually really don't. We've had 23 SSTs this year to kind of focus on these kids and try to support them more, try to give them more resources. Usually happen after school. All the teachers are invited, parents are invited as well. We also have parent conferences, which are not really designed to go to assessment, if that's where you need to go. It's just more like, hey, checking in, what do you need to do in the classroom to be more successful. Dual enrollment we mentioned, but part of getting into the classrooms and doing classroom guidance is helping our freshmen sign up for Mendocino College. So it's really exciting for them. Like, hey, I'm a freshman in high school. Now you're going to be a college student. So walking them through the application, getting them to apply. This is a 2-day thing. We go on the second day and we talk about their Mendocino College ID and what that means and the services that they now can have as a Mendocino College student. We also have them fill out a form for their login information to access things through Mendocino College, as well as their ID number so we can track that throughout the years as other opportunities come up. Course presentations as far as course selections. So it's fun to go over to the middle school. It's always super exciting. So we do it for all the grades, present the courses that we're planning on offering, especially the new ones, to see if there's interest, to see if we can make it fly. So that's always a fun time and exciting. I know our 2 students here got to do it for their last time, because they're going to be seniors next year. So I always try to make it sad for them, but they never get where I'm coming from. They're like, it's no big deal. But it's exciting. Meeting the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. So we started doing this last year. And I really enjoyed it last year, and I know Tomas did as well. We see a lot of kids, but there's always kids that fall through the cracks. And this has really, I think, helped out to be like, hey, this is who so-and-so is, and this is who we are. And so it's been some really good conversations. It's really about, obviously, their schedule, is everything looking good, but also about their grades. We check in on the transcript overall, and as well as their profile and their current grades. So those have been very fun to do, and we're just wrapping up with it this year, and then we'll start building the schedule for the next week. Mental health concerns, obviously, probably the biggest thing we do. This is just on a daily basis. As kids are going through the school day, maybe they had a rough night at home or a rough morning, maybe something happened with a friend group or with a teacher. Sometimes it's really serious. It involves CPS or RCS, our mental health services here. But just, working with them, a lot of times these kids are seeing Thrive. We refer them out or to Mendocino Coast Youth Project or to Tapestry. But that doesn't mean they still don't come in because they're having a hard day to come and talk to us as well. So our goal is always to get them back to class, but at the same time, we got to support them and meet them where they're at. We have requested for our counselors filling out their Google form as far as kids requesting to see us. So it's 214. That seems low to me. I feel like our Google form is not like the main way that students request to see us, like it has been the past several years, but that's as of March. So that's one way kids can ask to see us. A lot of kids come in, they know how to find us, or they email, or again, they just stop in and they talk to us. So 214 students so far, and we still have a few more months left here. We've individually met with 2,113 duplicated students during the 25-26 school year. So that's a rough estimate. We have never been able to really figure out how to track that number accurately. We've tried tallying, we've tried having computers, and just the way our jobs are, it's been a struggle, I know, for myself and Tomas to stay on top of that, as far as tracking exactly the number of kids that we see. So we do see a lot of them. Finally, the F list is a big part of what we do to kind of meet kids. So we do that with Tim and with Bruce, and we kind of divvy it up, and then we follow up with the students. A lot of times it involves bringing in the parents maybe, or having a phone call with the parents. And again, a lot of times that leads to mental health stuff as well, because of maybe a reason why the student is struggling. I think that's about it. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I appreciate your guys' time.
Sure, so thanks for coming. I know you guys are very busy and this is a long time coming, so I appreciate the presentation and the information. and all the hard work you guys do. I know it's not easy dealing with teenagers and parents and everything. So much appreciated in that. I was trying to get a sense of a student's journey through high school and how your office interacts with students throughout that journey. It looks like when they're in 8th grade, they get a presentation. I don't know if you go to Three Rivers or not. I know that's not part of the school, but whatever. Or if they get it, if you send them in any information, I know there's just a few students there. Looks like in freshman class, you present class-wide a couple times, right? To the, and then do you meet with them individually? Like, do you meet with them individually as like every freshman as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a freshman, they're probably seeing us 4 times in the year. 3 classroom guidance. With the beginning of the year we do the SOS, and then the Mendocino College that we do. And then after that, actually we go a 4th time to choose their schedule, and then they see us individually. So they're seeing us quite a bit that year. Yeah. And then after that, at least twice that they'll see us.
Okay.
Yeah, we reached out to Three Rivers, talked with Mr. Lang. Yep, we've been over to, haven't been to Montessori yet this year, but we plan on going over there. There's 3 kids there this year. And then we reach out to the Catholic school as well. And we do that presentation.
And if a new kid transfers in during their high school journey, is your office one of the first stops, or what is that? And I mean, like, I don't know, so
Yeah.
I'm really like.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, they definitely usually reach out. Emily will probably be the first person they talk to, or the district office. But yeah, they set up an enrollment meeting. We want to have a transcript to kind of, definitely review and see where they're coming from. Most schools have similar graduation requirements, but not all. So it can be tricky at times to figure out what counts, what doesn't count, and what they need to do to then graduate. So it's a little bit of a process. So we'll meet with the kid, come up with a schedule, obviously talk about concerns or any needs. And then we usually do a tour, usually student-based with maybe an aide, get them connected to Miss Nolte in the library, get them their Google account, get them a Chromebook if they need it.
Okay.
And then after that, they're kind of out there and there's some communicating going on as far as math is especially a big one, like not knowing where they came from. So talking with the math teacher, like, hey, is this working out, right placement? Just making sure they're feeling comfortable.
And then 38.5% A to G requirements for this year, is that good? Like, I don't know, is that like, I know you started auto enrolling, which seems like it'll raise the number. If the kids want to get there, then it seems like it'll be easier. Is that?
Yeah, there's always room for improvement for sure,
Yeah.
but I think as far as like, if you look at the state and the county, like it's there.
Okay.
Obviously you could look at other high school out there, you might see that the number is higher, but
Right.
overall, I think there's room for us to continue to improve as a school, as a community, like to kind of give students more opportunities to kind of like think about college. But I think, we're definitely trying to increase that number.
We've been stuck to that number, I think, for as long as I've been, not at that number, but right around 35-ish. So yeah, we definitely feel like we could do better. And I know admin has really, been meeting and talking about this. And I think the frustrating part, the thing that I think we can do better is a kid that has done everything, but maybe they're missing Spanish. It's really 3 classes they're missing. Our grad requirements are super comparable. They're doing all of it except for chemistry, algebra 2, and 2 years of local language. So the auto enroll thing is helping out. We haven't seen the numbers climb, I think, as quickly as we'd like them to, but I think we're getting there.
And we're also in an interesting time where career technical education is like really being pushed, and so that kind of contradicts the A through G sometimes, so we're trying to find a medium, and like how do we balance those 2 things.
So the college helps with that as well, right? CTE or not so much?
So with like CTE at the high school, yes, being prepared for the future for sure, but if there's a student that knows that they want to go to trade and doesn't see a need to pursue Spanish or chemistry because they know they're going to be a mechanic in the future, or they're going to be a barber, cosmetology school, like because their focus is so centered on that, they don't see a need for the rest of these classes. And how do we motivate them or push them or leave that option open for them in the future?
are there, I guess my question was Mendocino College, like, do they offer CTE paths like that? Like, are they, or we're partnering with them if they want to go into whatever, dietitian or whatever it is, or mechanic? I don't know what they offer.
Yeah. Mendocino College offers auto mechanics. They offer some agriculture pathways, sustainable construction. So there's some avenues to like definitely go into a trade through Mendocino College. I don't know if we're at that place right now where we're like fully partnering with them, you know, but who knows, maybe in the future.
I know Baser takes some kids up to the welding program up at, but he's a beauty, yeah, I was gonna say Feather River, but, so yeah, there's definitely opportunities. And we tell the kids from the 8th grade, you know, like, we're not pushing and we're not saying all of you need to go to college, but we want you to have that option. And even if you do the A through G's and you decide not to go, great, you're gonna be more prepared for a trade or to go to work or go to the military. So it's not always hurt, obviously. And you have to have C's or better. That's the other big difference from our grad requirements in A through G's. So there's some kids that do struggle with that. But
Is there, I know this is out of your control, is there a good partnership with the community for like internships, like if someone wants to be a mechanic or a plumber or electrician, like have we developed those? I know it's not your job, I'm not saying, I'm just curious.
no, the city, we're working with them. We actually just got an email yesterday about a project they're working on to bring on some interns. Lily has done an amazing job in the Career and College Center, bringing in employers. I know she has been trying to do some internships as well. Definitely, room for growth, no doubt. But Fort Bragg Electric has taken some kids on, that have graduated, and we've seen them move up. So it's been pretty neat to see. Done some stuff with Adventist Health. That program didn't work out as good, the COPE scholars, but definitely would be nice to get something a little bit more robust.
The latest one is we're trying to build some internships with the Noyo Center. So that's the latest one that's kind of come up. So every once in a while, we have organization partnerships that kind of come up, and we'd be happy to support them.
Last question is scholarships. So you didn't mention anything about scholarships. Like, is that part of what you do? Is that like I know kids, there's like one application and then they can get a slew of them, but then that's a big job.
It's definitely a thing that happens in the counseling office. Emily and Lily definitely handle a lot of that.
Okay.
A lot of that. They help us out a bunch with the scholarships, just getting the information out to students. We're obviously there to support them and motivate them to try to apply. A lot of that though happens with the community communicating with Emily and Lily helping us put that information on the bulletin too. So between the whole counseling office, we find a way to get that information out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Well, I just had a conversation with a community member in the trades, and one thing he got frustrated with is that, you can't have a kid that's under 18 running a piece of machinery. So, he runs, it's Cass Smith at Northwest Plumbing, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? And I said, I'm sorry. It's the same thing in Hare Creek. You can't have kids running power tools, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to come and stand there and watch somebody making sheet metal or something. They want to do it. And so that creates a real,
Well, and so I'm also a city employee, and when we were just like almost every department was talking about taking on an intern over the summer. So we have a bunch potentially that are going to come up. Hopefully we'll get a bunch of people interested.
okay. All right, so we're back, right? Dana Gray. Now we're on to middle school.
I'm not used to not having a mic. Laura Pierre, Fort Bragg Middle School principal. This is our spring highlights. So I think the last time I was here was in December. So this is what we've been doing since then. In January, our 6th graders were able to go to the Luther Burbank Center to see the Peking acrobats, and that was sponsored or funded by our community schools grant money. And so first time many of our kids have been to Santa Rosa, and definitely in a theater that has velvet covered seats, and very exciting for them. In January, we also had another Elements team rally. We broke our school up this year into different teams, fire, air, water, and earth. You can kind of see the different elements in the back, and then there's a color associated with each of those teams, where actually our first rally, I think we did better on having everybody wear colors, and those are just some of the games that were played in our gym with the entire student body present. Our spring sports, girls basketball, boys basketball, wrestling, and then also we have softball and soccer going on. When you look at all of our rosters for athletics, 41% of our students participate in athletics, and that's for the whole school year, not just for the spring. January 26th to 30th was Kindness Week, and so our leadership class put together the kind poster that you can see in the back with nobody there, and the kids could stand there and they were the I in kind. And then the two bottom pictures are our leadership kids in classrooms at Dana Gray, going to help kids working on being kinder. An example of what one Dana Gray student wrote was, "I will not be rude to my little brother." So that was our leadership class working at Dana Gray.
Good to have goals.
Our 7th graders got to go on a fire science field trip at Jug Handle. It was a collaboration between the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council and the UC Hopland Research and Extension Center. We were trying to get to Hopland, but busing was an issue, so they came to us and we were able to go to Jug Handle. And it didn't rain that day, so very exciting. In March, we had core relationship work that we've been trying to do for several years, and going on the equity walks and the training with Nicole Anderson and Sonja. We wanted as a staff to start looking at our kids, so there were 9 questions that everybody looked at our entire student body. You can kind of see in the bottom picture, we had our rosters printed with the student picture, divided them up by grade level, and there were 9 questions that the teachers were going through and when we started doing dots, but people's fingers started to get tired from peeling them off, so then we just went to markers and dots. Some of the questions that they were considering is, have I noticed a student participating, connecting, or contributing with their peers? And have I had a meaningful one-on-one conversation with this student this year? So we went through our entire student body looking for who are we missing. And we did that the day before our equity walk, just because timing was a challenge. So super interesting information, and it's helping us to, I think, understand how we connect with our kids and who to look for, who need maybe a little bit more attention. The day after we did that was our equity walk, where that's the picture from the final report. And we were focusing on rigor, relevance, relationship, and cultural identity. Those are the 4 buckets that we look at. There's a rubric, walk through with the district team. We were the 3rd equity walk in our district for this school year, and saw lots of really good things. And there's some room for improvement, and we can talk about that when we do our data talk next week. The San Francisco Shakespeare Company came to Cotton Auditorium once again. This has been going on for 15 plus years. It started before I got there. This year was Julius Caesar, and the kids are always so engaged in watching a Shakespearean play. And the company that produced it, that comes and does the production, they have that little tiny set, and they go behind it and they change their characters, and then they also pull in some kids from the audience to participate. So this year it was Julius Caesar. And thank you to our Parents Club for sponsoring it every year for over a decade. In March, we had our web spring fling. That's when our 8th grade web leaders invite our 6th graders into the quad for, there was a dunk tank, there was face painting, there was, I think they decorated cookies, just a myriad of activities that it's only our 8th grade web leaders and only our 7th grade students, or sorry, 6th grade students in the quad during lunch. So just building community and fun stuff. The Friday before we left for spring break, our middle school leadership class came over to help with the spring carnival at the high school. And that's some of our kids participating here. That was a big day for middle school because also on the same day, our 8th graders also were able to go to Cal Poly Humboldt State for their day on campus. So kids had to choose if they were in leadership which one they were gonna do. And feedback has been this is the best trip they've had to date. We've been going every year for the last couple of years. So that's just some pictures of our 8th graders checking out Humboldt State the day before spring break. And then I also wanted to highlight our student mental health grant that we have. We have Cody Tree, who you can see in the bigger picture. He's he calls it the Well. It's down in our library, one of those extra offices. And so he meets with kids down there. And then also in the gym in the morning, he offers athletics before school to help those kids who maybe need to settle a little bit and need something to do before they ground themselves and go into classrooms to learn. Upcoming events, our drama class has a production, Miss at the Edge of the World. The props and set design look amazing. The classroom is a disaster, but the props look amazing. And so that will be in Cotton on May 7th and 9th. And then 8th grade promotion will be here before you know it. June 4th at Timberwolf Stadium at 5 o'clock. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the superintendent's report?
Okay.
Did you, I'm sorry, before we move
My
on.
understanding it was part of FBUSD.
So
I know.
that's what I thought we talked about, Rachel. If I'm mistaken, we talked about curious.
I don't remember that, but that doesn't mean that we didn't
Okay.
discuss, that's fine.
Yeah, I have my presentation ready wherever you want to fit me in. I have no problem with it.
I think we'll do it there. That works. Okay, thank you. Okay. So from my perspective, first thing, talking about summer school. So we've recruited most of our staff. We still have some positions available for special education at Dana Gray level and middle high school level. And then we still also have a secretary position available. I think we've got some interest. We're just trying to get some folks kind of cajoled into filling in there, or splitting it and figuring, like we get creative with it too. We will actually release student signups tomorrow, and applications will be due on May 7th. So we'll get a good idea if we need to have some more support. I have talked with Flockworks, and they're willing to run like a Flockworks all day kind of camp for kiddos. So if we don't have enough district staff who are interested, then that's sort of our backup plan to make sure that we can support them and still get all of our ELOF dollars and run the program as the state requires there. Looking at enrollment projections, we've conservatively estimated TK and K enrollment projections. We're currently projected to have a decrease of about 45 students for the 26-27 school year. Current enrollment is at 1588. Conservatively, projected enrollment would be 1543. So it's a pretty significant decrease for next year, though once we do have our enrollment fair for TK and K on the 29th, I believe, right?
Yes.
That we'll have a better idea. We've got, I think I looked, there were 37 TK enrollments, and I want to say it was 6 or 7 new kindergarten enrollments right now as of today. So that's all of our TK and then the 6 additional K. So we'll hopefully get a better idea of what those 2 grade levels will look like for next year, as that's really where we've been seeing our drop off. However, I attended a quick meeting yesterday with CDE, and they were talking about statewide trends and nationwide trends. So we're projected to decrease by about 2.8%. The state's seen about a 1.6% decrease in enrollment from last year to this year. They didn't really talk about what they were projecting for next year. Nationally, it's been about 2.3% decrease in enrollment. There's just declining birth rates. Like it's just, there aren't the kids out there. So it's something that many areas are dealing with right now. So trying to understand that. However, if the state follows through on what their requirements are, the slice of the pie doesn't get any smaller based off of enrollment necessarily. So it should should translate into that we get more money per student if there are fewer students enrolled, because the amount of money should decrease. So that's what I keep pushing at, and they keep doing different math. So we keep fighting the good fight on that, though. Thinking about LCAP, so we've got some, fast and furious with LCAP, but we're also working on, the next update will have a little bit more information on federal program monitoring that's taking some of my attention away from other things right now. We're working to consolidate data from the various meetings. So we've had a lot of meetings within the district, met with staff, with students, with parents. And so we'll bring all that together. We are still working through, it had a new survey this year that went to staff, students, and parents. I'm not loving the way the data is reported back to us because I can't get as granular as I want to. So I've got to spend some time with that system this weekend and see if I can get down to those data points or meet with MCOE and get some more data around that. It's meant to be comparable to the California Healthy Kids Survey, but gives us much more data compared to students in Mendocino County. Sonoma County also takes this, so we can actually compare across those two counties, so we get kind of a regional view of what's going on with kiddos. So I like that a little better than you can do school. You can't do county with California Healthy Kids, but not everybody's taking that survey. And then you get out to state, and the state's just so varied in the needs up and down the state. So hopefully we can get a regional view. I've got to spend some more time with that system just to drill into that a little bit. We'll have a draft of goals and actions for the May meeting for board feedback and for public feedback as well. And then have our wonderful draft of the 120 some odd page document following shortly thereafter. I'm excited to share some info on some CTE grant support that we've been working on. So we've received a Strong Workforce Program grant. That's about $141,000 for funds to support new equipment for our ag mechanics program. So getting some welders and some portable systems so they can go to out to real job sites and things like that, and have some experience with actually welding in the way it would be in the workforce, along with some other pieces there. We received a Community Foundation of Mendocino County grant to provide a TIG welder for our ag mechanics program. So that's really great. Today we met with we went down to Santa Rosa. It was, let's see, Laura, Bruce, we had Lily, Katrina, Josh, and Cassidy.
Yes.
So we had a contingent of us went down to Santa Rosa to meet with the Magnolia Project, kind of see what they're doing down there. This project provides CTE curriculum, and they actually have funding to help support it as well. So they're willing to provide about $40,000 for a part-time coordinator that is already will go to help support an existing position that we have in our with Megan Tunzi is currently in the role. So it'll help to ensure that her position still doesn't cost the district any money, and she'll be benefiting our students and accessing these programs. Students basically do career exploration that leads into a 3 to 5 day experience where they kind of go in and work with a mentor in an area. So when you were saying like, can't go out and run the power tools at Hare Creek, but maybe we can figure out a way to get an insurance waiver for those 3 to 5 days and have on-site like mentors come in and do some limited experiences with that type of thing. And then that builds. So if they have the experience in middle school and then also end up in Anchor in high school, then by high school, that experience will either be more broad or hopefully will lead into maybe a paid internship of some sort or kind of some of those connections. So it's really helping them do some figuring out what they're good at, what, who they are, and they want to use. They're also, in addition to the part-time coordinator, they're also going to provide materials for us. So they said about $10,000 to $15,000 in material. They'll let us buy the things to support these programs. So some pretty cool stuff coming that way that we can keep a robust program as state funding kind of is up and down with CTE support. So, I wonder,
It's a quick question. Sorry, I'm just looking at the website. It's really exciting. It says Marin and Sonoma counties. Are they looking to?
we'll be the first in Mendocino County Council. So we'll kind of be the model for the rest of the county if anybody else wants to jump aboard. They're looking.
So as far as businesses go, you'll reach, there'll be some community outreach for
Yeah,
businesses.
that's part of what they're paying for with the coordinator position. So we'll be recruiting mentors in the fall, so we'll have a little bit more info with that. So if you have suggestions or thoughts of anybody you know in the community, please reach out. That's for anybody in the room. If you know someone who might be a great mentor, thinking about they'll spend 3 to 5 days with kids like all day long, teaching them about something. So having the right personality traits that they can spend 3 to 5 days with a kiddo. There is a stipend associated with it for the mentors as well. So they're not completely losing out on like their livelihood as well if they're running a small business or something. I don't know that it quite replaces what they're doing, but at least it's not a complete donation of time. Fiscal updates. So there haven't been any really significant updates provided from Sacramento right now. Is while they're doing a lot of their negotiating and figuring out some of the pieces for budget or whatnot. I want to check in, I think today at the end of tomorrow, so maybe on Saturday or Monday, they'll update the daily revenue totals at the state. There's actually a tracker that they have to kind of see if they hit the personal income tax, because really today and tomorrow are the biggest collection dates for them. And if they hit that benchmark, then they're virtually assured that they're going to be about $8 billion over what they had anticipated in the January budget for revenue in the state, which was already significantly above what they had anticipated for this fiscal year. So the good news there is that they owe schools 40% of whatever they are above what their projections were. Now, whether they give that to us all at once or how that comes, or if there's these strings attached to it, we don't know. That's up to the legislature. So we're trying to fight the good fight around that as well. We're continuing to look at ways to increase funding or to use, we have some funds that are expiring this year. So we have arts, music, and instructional materials. So you'll see a budget come to you next month that sort of moves some things around because we had anticipated being able to do a ELA adoption out of that funds, but we're not going to get there this year. So we've got to move some other things. We're not going to give any money back. So I'll bring a budget that updates how we're going to spend that money back to you next month so that we can make sure to relieve as much off the general fund as we possibly can. We also received a unexpected Medi-Cal reimbursement for about $250,000 this week. So that was good news as well. And it was from 2 years ago at this point. You never know with Medi-Cal, sometimes it's paid quickly, sometimes not so quickly. Speaking of Medi-Cal, we actually have connected our wellness coach program and Thrive are going to be a pilot program for the county in Medi-Cal reimbursement. They're making the switch over. You'll hear it called the California Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, CYBHI. But it's Medi-Cal reimbursement for services that sit outside of special education. So we've always been able to get Medi-Cal reimbursement for like counseling that comes through an IEP. This will help reimburse much of what we've been doing with Thrive. But there's also some other opportunities, like some of the work that some of our counselors are doing could be reimbursed. We can get some reimbursement from there, that kind of thing. So there's, it's kind of exciting as that program comes online that we could actually get paid back for some of the overreach that I feel like the state's done with some of their programs, pushing in and adding more and more onto our staff, that maybe we can fund more staff that way. So we're excited to hear more about that program as it moves forward. We also have confirmed that our wellness coach program, we have enough funds to cover one more year. It was supposed to end this year, but we've got an additional year with that. So we're super excited that we can keep Mr. Tree and Dennis at the school sites throughout next year as well. And they've been helping at Redwood, at Dana Gray, and so it's been a super successful program. And so we're just looking at ways that we can move to sustainability with that, but we'll take all the grant money we can around that to support that program. And then finally, we have federal program monitoring. They'll be on site May 5th through the 7th. I was looking last night. I think that we have uploaded in the area of about 125, 130 documents so far. There'll probably be about another 75 to 100 documents that we have to upload for this to clear it. They'll be visiting the middle school. Shared some of those details with Laura and her staff yesterday.
We're happy to show them around.
And so we get to, it's basically they come on site just to make sure that we're spending our title funds the way that we should. So Title I, Title II, 3, and 4. And it's a way more involved process than it probably needs to be. But I've worked with some of the people on this team before. They're very reasonable, easy to work with human beings for and being CBE. So we'll get through the process. It's just the timing in the year. I don't know why they always miss it at the end of the year.
Is there anything the board can do to support that or not?
No, I don't think so. I just want to make you aware. So if you ask for something from the district office staff and we're maybe a little behind in responding to it, we've got a few things going on with this. So, all right. And that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions? All right, we'll move on to item number 7, the Fort Bragg District Teachers Association report.
Was this, do you have something?
I have a math presentation for the middle school.
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirsten Hawk. I've been a math teacher at the middle school for the last 6 years. And I have been teaching 7th and 8th grade math either in the same year or teach 7th and then teach 8th the next year. And so I kind of wanted to share some of our data. I know you guys are looking deeper at data next week, but as someone who has been in one of our middle school classrooms for the last 6 years, I kind of wanted to present on what I've seen and answer any questions that you guys may have, especially since we are leading into a pilot next year across all of our lower level, just not our high school level, with the new California math framework that has come out. We just finished grading our performance tasks. A big difference from our fall performance tasks to our spring performance tasks. In the fall, we used paper printouts and we used prior past tests that we had printed out, and we had consolidated it all onto one page that students could easily flip over. And then we also hand scored those. For our performance tasks for the spring, we used the CASP interim testing site. And one of the grading differences is when the CASP site grades it, they only grade it as above standard, below standard, or near standard. So there's no standard met. And that is different too from what you see within their CASP scoring, like when we get the actual student scores back at the end of the year, there's no student met within this scoring platform. So when we look at our 4, 3, 2, 1 of our fall, of our above standard, at standard, near standard, and below, that did get consolidated. So we had a lot more students near standard though than below standard in the 6th grade. In the 7th grade, again, with this data, you can see that a lot more of our students were above or near the standard. So those would represent our 4, 3s, and 2s. And you can see that based off of the data on the CASP website, we were able to increase there. And then for 8th grade, also an increase. So from our fall to our spring, we definitely saw an increase in our performance tasks. One thing I do want to note about the online computer testing is that a lot of times the test questions reference back to prior test questions, and it's not just an easy paper flip. So getting students used to that platform was definitely a learning curve. And then on top of that, though, we're expecting to see that students have or more proficient with using the CAS platform in the upcoming weeks. And then we did break it down even further. Oh, so this is our whole school performance task, so you can just kind of see our data accumulated across all 3 scores, but we did have 2 specific demographics that we pulled out. So our first demographic that we pulled out was our English language learners. And their data was actually quite similar to what we saw across the whole school. And then our IEP students had a little bit lower in the below standard, but again, were very similar with kind of the trends that we were seeing, which was contrary to actually what we saw with iReady. So I actually have our iReady scores on the next. And so I actually looked at the historical data. And so I have the 6th graders' current data would be the bottom one. And then their spring data from 5th grade is at the top. And you'll see that we actually have a pretty significant decline in students who are at grade level or above grade level. And then we have a huge increase in students who are 2 or 3 more grade levels below. And when we look at the 7th grade trend data, I also have their 5th grade data, and we can see the same thing happened from 5th grade to 6th grade, their year 2. And then their 7th grade year, this year, we can see that they are increasing back up in that 2 or more grade levels, or 3 or more grade levels behind is shrinking. So one thing that we're doing to try and combat that next year is we are going to offer an accelerated 6th grade class, because what we're noticing is that the students who are proficient or who have the ability to be pushed are not getting those opportunities that they need. And so we're hoping with the accelerated 7th and then the Algebra 1, by offering an accelerated 6th grade course, we're not going to see that dip in 6th grade that we have been seeing. This is also the first year since I've been at the middle school where we will have the same returning team next year. So I'm hoping that we'll see our numbers start to rise. And then for 8th grade, I have their 6th, 7th, and 8th. I don't have their 5th grade data, but we can kind of see for their 6th, 7th, and 8th that they've kind of been stagnant all the way through with their learning, and that there hasn't been a lot of learning loss, but there also hasn't been any growth. So when we look at that, we also have a plan for that, hopefully. I also broke down iReady into so there's our whole school for fall to spring. We did increase early on grade level. And then we also increased our 1 grade level below and our 3 or more grade levels below pretty significantly decreased. And then I also broke this one down into our ELs and our IEP population also. So I have our EL students from last spring to this fall to this spring. And you can see that from fall to spring that our EL students had a little bit of growth, but for the most part, they are still staying 3 or more grade levels below. And then our IEP students, we had, again, some growth, but definitely not as much growth within our EL students and our IEP students as what we've seen with our general population. They're not making up a lot of that growth. And so for the future, we are looking at new curriculums this year. The middle school piloted mid-school math this year, and it was not successful. It was not successful. One, it offered no language supports within the curriculum at all. It was a completely online-based program, and we found that that is not the best for our demographic of students. It just doesn't fit their learning needs. And we don't have consumables. We have the ability to print the material, but that becomes really hard for students to keep track of. And we tried different organizational strategies, but all 3 of the middle school math teachers are attending the Abbott Institute this summer in Sacramento. And so we're helping to come away with more strategies. 2 of the teachers are going to the general math, and then I am going to secondary discourse. We are also looking at offering 2 leveled math support classes next year. So currently we have LLI classes that are leveled to help support our students with reading. And so they're placed based on a test, and then they can move up and they can move out. So we are looking at offering that next year, where students who are below a certain level will be placed in like a math support 1, They will have the ability to test out and move into a math support 2, and then we will have the ability to test out of math support. Our big thing is that Leanne Gibson and myself are going to MCOE. We went on, what month are we in, April? Okay, we went a couple weeks ago to MCOE over in Ukiah, and we looked at what are our math goals, like what do we want when we're looking at a curriculum, and we said we need English language learner support. All of the material needs to be able to be translated into Spanish resources, but beyond that, we also need a curriculum that provides sentence frames and an emphasis on vocabulary. We looked at, one of our other goals was that we need to have something that has consumables. It can't be something that's completely computer-based. And we need something that has rich tasks. With the new California framework, one of the most important pieces off of it is that tasks have to be rich so that students have an opening into the task. So when we're looking at just a computational task, that's not a rich task. We want to allow multiple ways and multiple levels of students to access a problem. So we're looking at curriculum that doesn't just provide the rote math memorization of doing the problems, but we need something that's going to provide teachers with more open tasks that allow for better conversations and more collaboration within the classroom. So Leanne and I are going next Wednesday, the 22nd. Yeah, next Wednesday for our second out of the 3, and we will be looking at Amplify and Eureka Math Squared, and we will be looking at, do they meet what we need for our current district?
And I asked them to add a couple more just for backups.
Okay.
So there's an Amplify, a version of Amplify that's more paper-based.
Okay,
So I asked
awesome,
them to make sure they have that there for you as well. So they can
awesome.
look at that. And then I think it was the HMH one, had some really good second, like Spanish support.
Okay,
So-
awesome. Yeah, no, we're happy to take a look at it. That's what we're there for. We want to make sure that we're really reaching the needs of what our students need, because the curriculum we piloted this year definitely did not. There was 0 language support, and that is not helping our students, as you can see with our EL scores. Do you guys have any questions?
I do, about the meeting that you're going to. Is the hope that the county will pick the same curriculum and then you guys would have more supports, or are we gonna be an island? And
So I think that was originally the goal. And at the last meeting, at the meeting that we just had, I asked some of the people and they said it sounds like everyone is going in different directions. I think the original goal was to see how on board we could get, so then MCOE could offer, like, hey, we're gonna do this training and you're all using this curriculum, so we'll support you with this. But it sounds like most districts are going with different curriculums. But one of the things that Leanne and I, that we're trying to do is we're trying to stay on the same page so that from Dana Gray to the middle school, there's that continuity there so that students have the routines down.
that was 1+.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to MCOE at CSBA, they were trying to get it so maybe if we get like only 2 or 3 rather than everyone going in totally different directions, they could at least focus in on it so they can provide better supports. But it doesn't sound like that's happening, unfortunately.
But I know in the district, we're looking at having a K through Algebra 1 kind of consistent. So we're not switching vocabulary, we're not switching, like every system just does things a little differently with practice and setups and that kind of stuff.
And just one of the most important things that they talk about with the IEP learners and EL learners is just consistency. And I know that there's been talks possibly about doing 2 different curriculum pilots next year. And I want to throw my support into doing 1 curriculum. One, I'm working with 2 new math teachers at the middle school. And then I think it would be more beneficial to do one year and another one the next year rather than split them in a single year. I think that's asking a lot for our students, because what I've found personally is that students don't begin to fully get down the routines and understand the curriculum needs until partway through the first semester, and it seems like we'd be taking that consistency away from them if we're asking them to try something completely new come January.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I know this was a lot of work. It's really, really good to see it in this realm in such a digestible way. And I know you guys have a lot of challenges. I'm really glad to hear it's going to be the same team for the first time year after year. And just thank you for your commitment and dedication and helping us to understand what the problem is, but also what you're working towards a solution. And I guess the question I have, just gonna, because Tomas is the only one here, I'm like curious with all these kids that are 2 or 3 grade levels below when they get to the high school, I don't know an answer, but it's interesting to see what happens at the high school, like what kind of support is there. And again, you don't need to get up, but it's like it's gotta be challenging. It's gotta be really hard.
And I can semi-speak to that. So since I started in the district, I have kept an open communication with the high school team on what focal standard students need to be successful in Algebra 1, because not all of the standards that are covered in each grade level. And so when we look at their scores to be successful in Algebra 1, students, I would say probably 50% of the standards in 7th and 8th grade are geometry and statistics. Those are not a focal point because those don't build into Algebra 1. So when I'm looking at building the skills that students need to be successful in Algebra 1 at the high school, I'm looking at building their algebraic expression skills. I'm looking at building their number sense. We're looking at building their ability to graph and their ability to solve equations. So while we look at their overall scores as being 3 or more grade levels behind, I don't think we're sending them with a huge deficit and not being prepared for algebra, because we're trying to focus on the standards that will prepare them to pass that class.
Thank you again.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. The rest of FBDTA?
I'll hop on the mic for a second. Our Dana Gray and middle school and counselors and math just really highlights the excellence that FBDTA has within our membership. So thank you for highlighting all the wonderful things that our unit members are doing. First time in how many years did you say?
6.
6 years that the math team is continuing into the next year. If you look at openings in certificated positions, there's a lot of special ed positions open. So as we move into bargaining season and we negotiate improving our bargaining agreement, just want to plug focusing on retaining staff, attracting and retaining teachers so that we can continue to do the things that we're doing in a way that will show some, growth in our students and really build the schools that our students deserve. So that's my piece for tonight. Thank you.
All right, we'll pause if anyone wants to. And I don't see anybody in the room, but just to make sure, do we have a California School Employees Association report or rep?
I didn't get a response.
Okay.
The others I kept on.
Thank you. Well, let's just go ahead and leave them on there for the rest of the school year and see what happens. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so item number 9 are non-controversial and items. If Vice President Statham would mind reading those, please.
Yes, so for our consent items, we have our warrants, we have minutes of several meetings, we have our personnel reports, we have several contracts, our Williams quarterly report, third quarter, 2025 to 26, and a couple of out-of-state travel requests.
Okay. Does any board member feel that any of those need to be pulled or that just pulled? Okay, can I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll move to approve the consent items as presented.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we're on to number 10. 10.1, our resolution 26-6, a renewed petition for Three Rivers Charter School.
Okay. So we had our public hearing last month, and I think we appreciate all the work that Kim, you put into this. I know this is kind of a big goodness, because that is a lot of stuff that you had to go through to get there. We've got everything is compliant with what the expectations are. Our attachments included a couple of policies that were updated in March by TCRS. So it's student discipline policy and the admission and early and enrollment policy now match law and what was in the petition as well. So there's consistency all the way across. We knew that's always where they were going. It was just timing about adopting the policies. So all that has happened. So I am happy to recommend approval on this item.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So I was approached by, and you may have presented this last time, this morning, kids trying to get into the school, young kids, first grade, there's a lottery system. Can you explain that?
Want me to go up there?
Yes, please.
So we just had our enrollment lottery the Friday before spring break. So what that looks like is when families are interested, they can submit their info, name, grade level, email, that kind of thing on our wait list online, or they can call the office. So then we put them on the list to be in the lottery. And then the way that the lottery works is it's open to the public. So we advertise it, anybody can come. We had a couple families come, and it's Miss Millette, our secretary, and I. And then for each grade level, there's an envelope with everybody's name in it. First we start at the lowest grade, and it's everybody who lives in district gets priority. So we pull names, we put them in order. So say for first grade, if there's 10 spots and 15 students, we put them in order from 1 through 15. And then anybody who doesn't live in the district, we pull them out of an envelope, and they would be next in line. And so we kind of make a list, and then we just start calling. So we start at the top, and once they say yes, or yes, I'm interested, they come get a packet and fill out the whole enrollment packet. And once they return that, they're officially in. So we give them, we leave a message or we email. Miss Millette is in that process right now, till eventually we fill all the spots for that grade level. And we do that for 1st through 8th. So there may or may not be an open spot depending on how many students are returning, and we have to keep the cohorts. We have to think about the following year as well. So in the 1st, 2nd grade class, we can't, fill it up more with 2nd graders, because then they're going to go on to the 3, 4 class, and it could be too big of a class. So we have to have foresight. Yeah, so that's the lottery process that we're going through right now. And then after we do that, if someone calls and there's a spot, they can join.
So you don't know yet if there's going to be a lot of disappointed families or not?
No, we are working through that process. We still have a few families, existing families, who need to turn in their forms, so then we know exactly how many spots we have, but we're plugging away. I don't know how many disappointed families.
I've been asked to ask.
Yes, we're working on it. In the next couple of weeks, it should flush out. And then also, we always say, if a family really wants in and they, don't make it, and once August, things shift. Like people leave, people come, people might be offered the empty spot in September and they don't want to move, or they might want to move. So I always tell families, if they really want to come, just keep at it. If you don't get pulled in the lottery, often they eventually get in. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I just want to make a comment of how wonderful it was to have your support in the room, and I loved hearing from your senior that came and talked. That was very, he was with my son, so it was very neat to hear him talk about his experience at your school. And so anyway, it was just wonderful to have that support behind you guys. So
we really have an amazing community, all the staff, the teachers, and the families. And we do a lot to bring them all together and build that community. So it was kind of a manifestation of that here that night at the public hearing to see everybody come.
And I keep hearing how wonderful it is that people have an option, an alternative for their kid if they want it.
if they want it. Yeah,
And that's awesome.
thanks.
So thank you. Thank your team.
I will.
And it is nice to know that if they hang in there, that almost everybody that wants a spot can eventually get there.
We only have so many seats.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 26-06, sorry, renewal petition for Three Rivers Church.
And I will second it.
All right. I'll ask here in a minute. Any further discussion? Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Schneider.
Yes.
Trustee Statham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Cleared the room this week.
Okay,
Well done. Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you. 10.2, Fort Bragg Unified School District, Measure B Bond Audit Report for the year ending June of 30th of 25.
So it was a very boring bond audit report, which is exactly what we want. No findings, everything was, all the standards were met, our accounting standards are being met, and the funds are being spent as they should. So I'm happy to be able to report that to the community and recommend approval of the, or acceptance of the report.
Okay. Any questions?
I would move to accept the Fort Bragg USD Measure B Bond Audit Report for the year ending June 30th, 2025.
I'll second.
Great. Any further discussion? Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
All right. Guess I need to ask the public comment first, I'm out of routine. All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Schneider.
Yes.
Trustee Statham.
Aye.
And Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 10.3, the Redwood Mural Project Phase 1.
Okay, could everybody see this? Because I had a, can you display?
Yes.
I just know I had an access issue, so I wanted to make sure that you could see it, so you know. It's super cute, super well thought out, I thought.
Yeah, so the timeline I was able to download, but the actual images just said can't download.
Okay. So you go to the online platform and then just click on the link and open the folder.
Well, I was hoping, yes, I can do that also.
So there's two screenshots there.
So they're just the same. No.
Yeah, they have kind of the phases that they're gonna line it, and then they're going to paint it, so you can kind of see through. And then if you're familiar with the bathroom building, that's going to be the rainbow part of the mural. You can kind of see where the water fountain cutout is there or whatnot. But I think that'll really brighten up
It's beautiful.
the playground, really just kind of make it, I mean, they're bathrooms, so it's not, it's a great place for it. You know?
What's the one drawing with three picture?
Like the original
Oh, the very
sketch,
first one.
the original concept sketch,
Oh,
and then
Yeah, and then kind of breaking it into the parts.
I did download all. He gave me a zip file, so I got that.
So they'll start working on it during summer camp. So some of our summer students can have the opportunity to contribute to it as well. And that'll be led along with Flockworks with some of the community artists that they'll bring in as well. So I'm super excited. So it'll be ready to go 26, 27, the start, and then phase 2 will be done during the fall and spring semesters throughout next year. So I think the main part is going to be the rainbow, that part, and then the rest will be done into next year. So.
Okay. All right. a gift to the school district.
Yes.
Do we have any public comment?
We're just approving phase one, clearly.
Yes.
Well, I would move to approve the road renewal project phase one.
Perfect, thank
One
you.
second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you to all those working on that. So 10.4, we have our board policies that were here last month, coming back.
So on this,
We
I
do,
would
right.
like to recommend that we remove board bylaw 9250 in the exhibits for that. And the rationale behind it, whenever I went in to look, Renee and I were comparing on different screens, and on my screen, it wasn't well lined out. And the part that wasn't well lined out was the specific part about board members being compensated. And so I didn't want there to be any miscommunication to the public or anything that you were passing a policy that said that you would be compensated without some actual discussion with the public around that. So I would recommend we pull that, but otherwise approve the rest.
Did you get comment?
I didn't receive comment. It was just as I was going through my review, I was like, we didn't talk about board member compensation. And I was kind of looking at it, I was like, oh, well, there's kind of like a really light line through there. And then I look on Renee's monitor and it was like a normal strike through. So I was like, if there's any ambiguity, let's pull that back. It's not going to affect anything that's happening for any of our board members at this point.
Okay, sounds good to me. Okay, any other questions? And as always, admins looked at it, anything that affects them and everybody. Okay. All
I
right.
received no comments that way.
Well, I know they just can't wait for the packets to come out.
Well, I will say that Alted is looking forward to, there's some flexibility that's added for our graduation requirements because they're changing the definition of who can qualify for the minimum requirements for graduation. So that will help out some of our students who are very transient, particularly that ends up at Alted a lot of times. So Gary and I have had a couple of conversations about how can we get the student through. And it's not even exempting all of the requirements. It's just there's one particular one, or for that particular student, that's a challenge that they can't necessarily get through, and that Alted doesn't have a great option for sometimes.
Okay, can I have a motion for policies removing 9250?
So I'll move to approve board policies and administrative regulations recommended for February 2026 minus bylaw 9250.
Thank you.
One second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Trustee Schneider?
Yes.
Trustee Statham?
Aye.
And Trustee Babcock?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, 11, item 11, we have information and discussion. We have board policy on equity. So we have been working on this for quite some time. This will be our first read, typical to what we do with our other board policies, and we would like to bring it back next month to have it official in our policy. So anything else, Joe, that you think we should add or put on record?
No, I don't think so. We just moved it from, we had the draft format that was kind of in a informal document. And now this is framed in our, the actual policy manual style so it should be ready to go. I'm super excited about it.
We will see some fruits of our labor.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And thank you to the board and the two members that are not present tonight for all their work. And it's been a lot of extra meetings and a lot of time, and we appreciate Joe getting us a great consultant. And luckily, Mrs. Makla and Joe and I got to do that program with her a couple of years ago. It was a wonderful resource. Okay. 11.2, the board self-evaluation tool. So I the things I sent Renee last month are there, and I just wanted, before I spent a lot of time, I just wanted to get some feedback from the board, and I know we're missing 2 members, but we were putting things together, and I did just a few sections to see if that's the direction we want to go, or if we want to move into something completely different. So I don't know if anybody had any time. I know these are information and discussion items, but if there's any feedback from me, or you can send it to me later, and then we'll hopefully get this together before the beginning of next school year so that we can, again, just for public, it's in the packet, but we have used a tool many times and we're never really happy with the outcome, or we're fine with the outcomes. It's just ambiguity with how to use it and what it means and whether it's in, anyway. So I did some research for some other schools. CSBA really works with Lake Tahoe, so I kind of borrowed some of theirs, and then I took what we had, which is actually aligned with CSBA standards, and then tried to make it more user-friendly so that we have a document that's actually something that we can feel really good about the answers, and not just, here, we're doing this because we're supposed to be doing it. So.
Would you like for me to get the file from, I know I'm my colleague, the superintendent role in Lake Tahoe Unified, I don't know, so I can reach out to him and ask.
Okay.
So we don't have to like go through.
Oh, you mean to actually physically retake it?
Yeah. Save some time that way. I mean,
there's probably AI that does that.
sure.
But sure,
I mean, if you
you've
want,
got friends.
I'll reach out to him and just see, because he may have some other resources around it as well. If you like.
And I actually attended, it might have been 2 years ago, or it must have been 3 years ago for CSBA. They presented at CSBA conference, and so I did hear from them, and they're a very dedicated board and really are invested in their evaluation tool. So I feel pretty good about using it, but I did get feedback that the columns was kind of the direction we wanted to go. So if that.
So the self-evaluation tool that's attached for us is 1 page?
Yes, because I didn't want to keep going for the 10 pages until I got the feedback from the board that said, yes, this is kind of on the, because I had, 4, I'm a paper person, so believe it or not, even though I'm trying to get rid of a lot of paper, but I had, 4 copies, and I would go from one thing to align them and then put them together. So again, at this time a month ago, when I was knee deep in my job, I just didn't want to go any further without feedback. So that's where I was.
I think the other piece that we might consider, if we look in our folder, if you remember at the start of the equity work, we did a very similar type of rating scale, and maybe integrating some of those pieces into the structure where it might be supported there as well.
And I do know that we definitely need to add more specifics with equity. Yeah.
Yeah. So it follows this almost exact same format. It's just.
I think it might be nice at the end of each section to just have just room for comments.
Okay.
So we can explain why we graded, or point out anything we want to point out. But no, thank you for doing this.
Okay. Joe, would you mind, tomorrow there's no, I was gonna say, could you just remind the board as a whole, because we have 2 missing, next time you do a weekly update, to just give me any feedback if they have it, please?
Sure. I'll probably have that from Lake Tahoe as well, so.
Okay, that'd be great.
Share
Okay, and then
any additional information that you
I will continue to work on it, and then get together with Luce and try to have something for you guys next month. Okay, 11.3, current issues.
May I? Thanks. So first, I just want to say I apologize for my nose. It has been raining flowers. And it's just like,
Yes.
it's been beautiful.
The wind.
But it's, anyway, so I'm not sick, no, I'm not contagious. So, CSBA has been doing a lot of work on this SOS for student achievement. They really want the state to change how it measures student achievement. And I just think it'd be good for this body to support their efforts. At the CSBA conference, I attended a couple sessions about this, and there were some panels talking about how ineffective the current system is and how it doesn't really reach a lot of the students that we serve in our districts. And so there's really a resolution that I would like the board to consider passing, maybe at the next meeting. I mean, I printed some stuff out. I can go into more detail, but really, if you go on the CSBA website, big thing at the top says SOS. You can click on it and read all about it. The sample resolution is there. But again, I just think that if there's anything we can do to help CSBA communicate this to the state, if the board is agreeable, I'd like to support it. So that's it. Happy to go into more detail. Again, if you're curious, just go to the website. There's no public.
Yes. And I agree.
But it's I've been concerned and confused and for a long time about all the state tests and how they're rating student achievement, and I think it's time for a change. And I think this is a great way to be a part of that.
Okay.
Well, and to hold the state accountable for addressing some of the inequities that are inherent in our system, that zip code still matters very much for kids throughout our state about funding and availability of programs. I mean, we do amazing things for a small district here, but there's still some things that are rural. We're at a disadvantage, and there's no reason that we should be. So,
I think zip code's still the number one predictor of outcomes.
And I guess to my point, if staff sees any issues with this, of course,
I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful a wonderful statement for us to make. I know my professional organizations, supporting similar kind of things going forward, and many of these same bills and things.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got enough support to bring that on as action next month.
And I won't be here at the next meeting, so my son's graduating from college.
Big steps.
So you want, just a point of order, the resolution you want to bring back for consideration is action.
Yes, thank you. Okay, 11.4, District Core Literature Selection Procedure and Lists. This is an item that we've been visiting, trying to bring public transparency and feedback. And then I'll turn it back over to Joe.
Okay. So we've got, I think we're getting really close on middle school. I still need to meet with high school. It's just been hard to get in the high school professional in my schedule. So we're working on getting that scheduled so I can get in and sit down with them to make sure that we're getting an accurate list that we're bringing forward for approval. I also need to do a little bit more work on the actual plan, just to make sure that we're down to, it sounds like that, if I'm reading it right from the board, that 2 meetings would be sufficient, that we don't necessarily need to do the 3rd meeting. And it's always at the board's discretion. If you say after 2 meetings that you want some more, that's always an option, but just as a part of the policy, it sounds like 2 meetings would be sufficient, so we can get this done in roughly 5 to 6 weeks from inception to finish if there's a need, and most teachers are pretty good with that planning space or whatnot. The core list from the middle school does include some novels that they have reviewed that were on lists and meet all the criteria, so there's nothing controversial really about them in the literature world or anything. So I think they're very appropriate new introductions as well. So they're looking at, that they want to have ready for the fall so that we're not immediately jumping right back into this in August. So
great.
Want to get there as well. I know the high school's been thinking about it, like we've been communicating through email, but I want to sit down with the department and have that conversation as well. So.
And did we get any public comment from?
There's no comment at all on this situation.
It's been very
And
quiet.
Was there any reason why on the middle school list 2 of them were highlighted? Does that mean anything, or just random highlights?
Yeah. Are those 2 of the new? was Chains and the last Granista.
There are a few that are highlighted on the high school list. The middle school list doesn't have
Yeah, on the 8th grade list, there's 2.
the 8th grade list. Oh, no, that was the list that I received from the humanities teachers.
Okay.
So
It just,
on the core, on the list as it would appear on the website and for the public, there's a lot more detailed information. You can't see that right now, but there's a lot more information included on it. And,
okay, but nothing.
but no, as far as I know, there's no reason why those were, I don't know what the reason was.
Okay. And on those highlights, I assumed because they were just missing a whole bunch of, they didn't have copyright, author, and grade level involved.
On the high school list?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't able to identify what those books are actually.
Oh, okay.
There's either multiple books with the same title.
Gotcha.
Cheryl gave me that list, but not, there's no authors listed, so I need to get back to her and find out what those were. Good question, right?
Yeah. And, somehow taking the Animal Farm and turning it into a kid's movie. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but it's not it. So I'm just throw it out there. Who's read Animal Farm? I don't know how this is becoming a kid's movie. So.
Maybe they're really not related.
No, it literally says based on George Orwell's Animal Farm. It is,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I do appreciate the how this started. The parents have an interest in, even if it's gotten derailed a little bit, I do appreciate the feedback and the proper channels, not just, blowing something up on social media and bringing it to the school district. So I appreciate that. And thank you to everybody that's been working on this very much. Renee, I know this is in your wheelhouse, but we do appreciate your expertise and work on
I'm
this.
glad to see that.
Yeah, and thank you, Joe, for adding another thing to your plate. But again, when parents are being productive conversationalists, I think it's nice. Okay, any other questions or concerns about this from the board? Okay. All right, 12.1, board reports.
Sure. The only thing I can say, my daughter attended the Washington D.C. trip with the other 8th graders and had a great time. Got a lot of photos came back from that trip. She did bring a old school digital camera and managed to drop the SD card into the storm drain and lost several hundred photos. She was very upset about. Called us crying in D.C. because she lost all of her photos. But overall, it sounded like the kids had a really good time.
Wonderful.
I don't really have much as far as activities go. I'm looking forward to the upcoming equity walk on the 4th. So great. I want to reiterate a couple of things. One, it was great to hear from a teacher today. Like that was just so refreshing to see data that made sense and challenges that made sense and solutions that made sense. And not that, I expect that I want that from all the teachers, but it's great to hear from the source, I guess. I know math has been a discussion and a challenge and really great. I just want to thank the counselors for showing up. I have concerns about how much kids are supported in the high school, especially the kids that want support. And it was good to just hear from them and hear kind of their process a little bit. I don't really know. I have nothing really to compare to. So, I'm just hoping again, the kids that want the support, maybe are afraid to ask for it, don't get lost in all this equity work and stuff. It'd just be good to know that they're getting whatever support that they may need. That's really, and I won't be at the next regular meeting. I'll be at these groups.
Well, and I'll try to get Martha to maybe come in and fill in maybe a little bit of the gaps for some of our students who maybe don't feel comfortable going to the counseling office, because then our family liaisons kind of fill in some of those gaps as well, so she can kind
And
of.
then, because she's given us reports before, so.
Yeah, so the programs they have developed, I think, fill in maybe some of those concerns that you have, because there are some of those kids who tend to, as they're walking that way, they're like, oh, well, maybe I will go get something out of the office there today, kind of check in with an adult and have that connection.
I don't have a whole lot to report. I will, so I have something to say. My son and I took a very quick college decision trip to 2 out-of-state schools over spring break. Terrible timing, but had to be done. But there are so many more opportunities that I think kids just don't know about in our zip code. I mean, I know the internet is out there, but I was thoroughly amazed at the recruitment. We went to a school. I would like to go back to Sac State, which is where I went to school, and see what their production is, because I'm really feeling like California is doing a disservice to our college-bound students. I mean, I cannot tell you the difference between what he got from Humboldt State and Cal Poly and what he's gotten from Oklahoma State and Montana State. It's just, there's notes, there's phone calls, there's his name's in the billboard in the alumni center. Like, they want him to come. Like, California's like, you wanna come? Fine. It really is, it's been an eye-opener. And I just want to make sure that all of our kids have every opportunity. And I was a school counselor, will always be in my heart, that every kid should have opportunity. And that's why the A through G is so, so, so important. They don't know, I mean, I've got kids on very different platforms, and I come from a blue collar family, and their trades are there too. But, opportunity, every kid should have a choice. And they don't really know what their choice is at 16, and then the story when I was a school counselor is that I had a girl in my accounting classroom that she came in from the counseling office crying because she had one class she did not take and she had no idea. And she went, she was senior year, she was filling out her applications, and she didn't get it and she couldn't apply. And, all kids need to have access and all kids need to have opportunity, and wherever they go, they will blossom and do great and they're wonderful. But anyway, I'm kind of bird walking, but anyway, it just reminds me that every kid has opportunity and we just have to make sure they all have access to it.
And I think if I may reiterate the counseling report, and Lily may be able to actually answer some of this, but I know that when my kids were going through the process, out of state wasn't even talked about. Like, it wasn't even.
And all your kids went out of state, right?
All of them did.
Yeah.
Yes, they all went out of state. Just because the schools that they applied to in California anyway, just didn't work out.
Well, and my daughter went out of state and she got into several UCs, but she got better financial offerings from a private out-of-state school than she got in California.
And that's true in California too. The private schools offer more money.
But I think it's because we're remote. Like, I don't know how much the counseling office communicates to kids all of the, and I know it's possible to communicate all of them, but like, I know there are resources out there, there are things that they can probably share and help, and just want to make sure that that's happening. So I'm just kind of putting an exclamation point in the comment.
Well, and I think, Ryan comes from obviously my background, but his came from Abbott. Because he did the Common App and all these schools come in. And so, there was all this, anyway, I could go on and on about this experience, but our kids have some great opportunities. And he's a kid that has taken all the, every ag class there is, and he's taken 16 dual enrollment. So kids can do it, you just have to push, and you have to, again, I'll get off my soapbox now.
And I will say the dual enrollment thing here is amazing, because I know kids that have a year done of college before they even go, and they can graduate a year early. And the cost goes down, and that's awesome for those kids that want to go down that path.
Yep. And then my kid that has a great job in Wyoming, went to Wyoming Tech, did not take A through G. It was a family choice with him and his counselor, that he came out of Spanish, but we tried. and we made it, and he could have gone to a junior college, but that was not where he wanted to go. So, but as long as they have options and you meet the kids where they are. That's all the equity work we're doing, right? Okay. All righty. Advanced planning. So we do have a meeting is that next week? The 28th feels like it's so far away, but it's not. Okay, so we do have a meeting next week.
I had 4 o'clock, but it's 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock.
That's correct.
And is there anything we can do to help prepare for that?
So we will, if you'll read over some of the questions that I shared with you from Nicole, about, and I'll try to reshare those.
And that was in your update, right?
No, it was a separate
It
email.
was a separate email, but I'll try to send them to you again, just so they're at the top of your inbox. So,
And has anybody heard from Nicole as far as our meeting? Okay.
so she was going to reach out to you today. I said, hey, we got our meeting. So today's probably not the best day. So she's going to reach out to you, probably send you a message tomorrow to kind of maybe schedule some time with her early next week so she can kind of walk you through. We met yesterday with our principals, so we worked on trying to get a common understanding of the format with it not all being exactly the same data, because Redwood's data is going to be different than the high school's data, that kind of thing. Yeah. They were trying to say, oh, we need to report on all the same things. Like, no, you don't have the same things to report. It's just not the way it is, and that's fine. But they're trying to give a format that's at least familiar, so you're not seeing 5 different formats when you have 5 different presentations. So
We're seeing 3 types of apples instead of apples and oranges.
yes. And then we've got, I've asked them only to look at reporting on really, like the high school will do the college and career readiness goal, but the others will only do academic achievement and school culture, because we don't have as many indicators for, say, they do exist, but just for the sake of time as well, if we're going to get some pointers from all the schools.
And time commitment for next week, just so we know.
We're planning 2.5 hours, I would say. We probably still won't get everything done that we need to get done, as is typical for many of our study sessions, but it will give us a really good leg up. And if we decide that we need to do maybe one more before we have a format for next year, we can, or if we get everything in a good situation. The biggest thing to remember about the data that will be presented is some of it's from last year, some of it's from this year. It's really just giving you a picture of what can happen with all of these pieces coming together, and you'll see it flesh out a lot more next year. So the data, I wouldn't get so hung up on that as much as the actual format, the questions, the presentation, that kind of thing, is really what we're aiming for with the meeting. So.
And when I'm looking at that list, did we get a safety committee date?
It's in the doodle poll. I just need to pull it out and send it to everybody. Yeah, there was one that finally got almost.
Is finance over?
At this point, yeah, there's not a whole lot that we can.
Those
are the major things, yeah. I'll send out updates as soon as we do have the May 14th. Should be by May 14th will be the May revision update. So we'll have a little bit more clue what the legislature's thinking at that point.
I do have one item for the board. We had a request for a special meeting the week of May 7th, or the week of May, whatever.
The first week of May.
The first week of May. So I had a hold on the 7th, but that's not
Yeah, so we'll send out some info on that, because we want to get the other 2 members involved as well. We only need 3 folks. It would be to consider if we needed at the time, if we have any final layoff notices that we need to issue, that we would do it at that time.
That's a fundraiser dinner at David's Deli for class of 2026. We could have it maybe before that and then stay and eat. So we always talk
Yeah, I
about.
don't anticipate it to be a very long meeting.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, we could go.
I could go eat before and then come here too.
Are they serving a particular menu at David's?
I haven't heard whether they're doing, they usually do like a special and then the regular menu.
Regular menu.
Mhm.
I have a Mean Girls Gloriana performance my daughter's in at 5:45.
Do it before.
Yeah, it's also the drama performance that.
that starts at 6.
Yeah, so it's in there. Exactly. We did a little
Well,
earlier.
we did it early.
All the
Yeah.
things and
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah, it's busy.
Or we can use a different day. I mean, it's just, that was just what I picked because it was a Thursday.
We'll throw some times out and see if it works on that day, I think.
We'll get 3 people together.
All right, I can, all right.
Great, thank you.
I can go before or after the meeting too. Okay, anything else?
Do you mind sending invites for the graduations? When we have a moment,
Yes. I will
just so we
send
can
out.
have a
Yes.
moment. Thank you very much.
I was gonna also, after that May meeting, there are several things all over the place, so I don't know how to put them all together too. Scholarship night, awards nights, open houses. They're on the calendars though, right?
They're all on the high school calendar.
Well, the open houses for other sites though too.
Yeah, if you pull those.
I'm
into
sure
one
they're
board
on.
Calendar as well, just as reminders.
And it's more the time, like, I mean, we all know what
Right.
days the grads are, but sometimes.
Yes,
it's
one's
not-
different.
Yeah.
All that is different.
Locations, I know that Alted has changed.
Yeah, the graduation stuff I have, I'll follow up and find out, make sure that everything else is calendared so that it can be shared out with you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Renee.
And Alted will be at Cotton again. They're not doing it outside again, they said.
I kinda liked it there.
It's too risky.
Oh, well, and this
The
year,
weather.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I
and
was
the
thinking we might have
wind and
graduation.
just everything.
I didn't rain on this one. Okay,
Maybe once we get the building done, the courtyard will be a
Maybe.
great spot to
Yeah.
be able to do it, but, you know.
all righty, can I ask for an adjournment, please?
To adjourn at 8:11.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.